Well, today is Monday, October the 19th, 2020, and it is a joy to be coming to you once again after being away for the past week. And today's devotional commentary is titled, Nothing is Impossible. Our scripture reading is Matthew 17 and Mark chapter 9. Now, today's chronological scripture reading brings us to within 6 months of Christ's appointment with the cross. The crowds following Jesus throughout Israel are growing, while the anxiety and fear of his enemies are inflamed. The Pharisees, Sadducees, and the high priest plot his arrest as his disciples debate among themselves who would be the greatest in his earthly kingdom. Matthew 17 and Mark 9 record the transfiguration of Christ when he unveiled his heavenly glory. Now, words and imagination fail me to describe the transformative moment when Peter, James, and his brother John witnessed Christ's transfiguration. Those three disciples, identified as Christ's inner circle, gazed upon Jesus, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as light. As the disciples looked on, suddenly Moses and Elijah appeared with Jesus talking with him. And it's been suggested by many, and I believe the same, that Moses represented the law and Elijah the prophets. Peter, never one to be at a loss for words, interrupted the moment, and he said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elias." Even as the words were in Peter's mouth, he was interrupted by a sight and sound that silenced him and struck fear in the 3 disciples. In Matthew 17, verse 5 and 6, we read, "And while he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. Behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid." With a touch of compassion, Jesus bid his disciples to rise and challenge them to tell no man what they had seen until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. Peter would write years later of this experience on the Mount. "We were eyewitnesses of his majesty, for we had received from God the Father honor and glory, when there came such a voice to him from the excellent glory, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And this voice which came from heaven, Peter would write, when we heard, we were with him in the holy mount. Now, after Jesus had descended the Mount of Transfiguration, he found his other disciples embroiled in a controversy with scribes who were questioning and mocking the disciples' failure to cast a demon out of a father's son. Rebuking his disciples for their lack of faith, Jesus commanded the demon to depart from the son, and the child was cured from that very hour. The disciples, embarrassed by their failure and humbled by Jesus' rebuke, later questioned why they had been unable to cast the demon out of the child. And Christ's answer revealed the power and the necessity of faith and prayer. Matthew 17 and verse 20, Jesus said unto them, "Because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting." The disciples had failed to cast the demon out of the child because they had faltered in both the matter of faith and prayer. Jesus taught even a small amount of faith can grow and overcome obstacles as great as a mountain. Now, I believe the mountain was a figurative or symbolic of great obstacles and not literal mountains. To overcome a great obstacle like that of the possession and influence of a demon required both faith, that is, believing nothing shall be impossible, and prayer and fasting. Are you facing obstacles that seem to tower over you like a mountain? Are you struggling to believe and trust God? We read in Hebrews 11 at verse 6, without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Set your heart to seek the Lord in prayer. Desire him more than you crave food. God bless.